This shirt right here says it all. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Pop Culture History Podcast. My name is Mike Larkin. It has been a long time since I have done this show. Go back and check out pop_culture_pod on Twitter and check out Steve and Mike's show podcast network on SoundCloud, wherever you get your audio platforms. There's a lot of great episodes of the Pop Culture History Podcast where I looked at movies, TV, a lot of great albums, and a lot of great content from the pop culture realm that I hope you all enjoy. It has been a while since I've done this, probably with everything that's been going on within my life, probably around 3 years since I've done a official Pop Culture History Podcast episode. And of course, for those that know me, I'm coming back talking about the 24-year anniversary of the Backstreet Boys' I Want It That Way. You saw me put out the shirt, repping the Backstreet Boys at the start of this show. Man, I'm a man who loves all different genres of music, all different eclectic styles. But for me, I'm always a sucker for pop music. And I mean, the boy band era, the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees, it makes you move, it makes you dance, it makes you have a lot of fun, really evokes a lot of emotions. You know, some people like it, some people don't, and that's cool. I think with each and every different set and genre of lyrics and songs, everybody can relate to something. I think that's the beauty of the art form that is known as music. For me, this is one I've been wanting to do. Like, I've been pondering and pontificating for probably about a week now since my birthday. Just turned 31 on April 13th. So thank you all for those that did send birthday wishes my way. April 12th, 1999, the Backstreet Boys' I Want It That Way came out. Now, mind you, at the time, the Backstreet Boys had just come off a very successful debut album, which had songs like We've Got It Going On it, Quit Playing Games with My Heart, As Long As You Love Me, All I Have to Give, Anywhere for You, Get Down, You're the One for Me. So many great songs off that album. Everybody Backstreet's Back. Oof. Like the first 5 songs on that album, which is We've Got It Going On, Quit Playing Games with My Heart, As Long As You Love Me, Everybody Backstreet's Back, All I Have to Give, hits. And of course the ballads like I'll Never Break Your Heart and Darlin'. Man, you're coming off of a great album like that. It did very well overseas, did very well here in the States, made the top Billboard charts. And then, you know, you have your NSYNC, you have your 98 Degrees. NSYNC at the time came off their debut album, which had Tearing Up My Heart and I Drive Myself Crazy and Here We Go. And For the Girl Who Has Everything and, you know, pretty much everything from I Want You Back and everything around that genre, that realm. God Must Have Spent a Little More Time on You. They did a Music of My Heart with Gloria Estefan for the Music of My Heart movie soundtrack. And then you had 98 Degrees with 98 Degrees and Rising, which had The Hardest Thing, which had True to Your Heart, which had I Do Cherish You, which had a lot of great songs like that, Because of You. And, you know, they did the cover She's Out of My Life by Michael Jackson, a cappella style. And again, great albums from 3 of the great groups. But this is the particular time period where 1999 was on the cusp of the height of the boy band style. I mean, you had the Backstreet Boys around this time. They had I Want It That Way come out, which I remember the first time I heard it. So when this song came out, I was I was probably coming towards the end of first grade, and this was the day before my 7th birthday. And I remember listening to it on the radio. 106.1 BLI, growing up on Long Island, New York, was the hot spot. My parents actually used to work for BLI back in the day. So that's where my music taste came from. And just having the CDs, you know, around. My mom was more into the R&B pop style, and she can really dig that style. You know, my mom comes from the disco era and stuff like that. My dad was more rock and roll, and really around that time period, you know, you had so many great stuff. The grunge era was coming in. You had so much great rock and roll as well. Like my dad loved Kiss and many great artists like that go down the history. And my mom was like Diana Ross and the Supremes, give me some Temptations, the Motown style. That's what I grew up with. That's what I loved. And I remember listening to BLI and that song came on. I'm just like, I'm feeling this. It's a vibe. It's something that really sticks out. It's something that you can enjoy for easy listening, if you will. And I just remember seeing that video on MTV. You know, TRL was still at the cusp. And then, you know, they're at LAX. It's pretty much based off the storytelling of its airport theme. They're performing in the airport. You see the Backstreet Boys jet, the plane, it's everything from that encompasses like fan bases a while, here the girls are performing from the girls. They follow you to the airport, the crazed fans, but they want to see you perform and they're serenading the girls. It's a fun video and it's a very iconic video that people still talk about 24 years later. You know what I'm saying? So you have that cusp of greatness of really what we saw in the Disney Channel days where you had great Radio Disney where they would play Larger Than Life. They would play I Want It That Way on Disney. And I mean, nowadays it's very different with where we see Radio Disney and how Disney has gone and how times have changed and how society has changed. And I mean, I'm not a particular believer in this, but cancel culture has taken over. So stuff that we would get in with, and speaking as a 90s kid, stuff from the 90s to where we are now, a lot of stuff would not fly. So a lot of people also talk about the technological side of things where how videos have advanced and we've advanced as far as, videos go and everything where we can get it now. Like CDs are a thing of the past. Nobody goes out and buys a CD anymore. Everything is off of Vivo or YouTube channel or Spotify. Everything's downloadable. I mean, you think back in the day when you had Napster, but still, what we have now is much more, equipped than what we had back in 1999. I mean, for God's sakes, we had hit clips from back in the day. But when you look at a song like "I Want It That Way," which originally was titled "No Goodbyes," you know what? No goodbyes, no more lies. Tell me why, ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why. Like just the rewrite of words really surmised how this song would come to be. I mean, can you imagine the demo version of "No Goodbyes"? I love it when I hear you say "I want it that way." Compared to what we got, oh my God, like the harmonies, just like the start with Brian, with Nick, but we are two worlds apart. Can't reach to your heart when you say "I want it that way." Kevin Richardson's bridge part. Now that I see, excuse me, now I can see that we've fallen apart from the way that it used to be. Yeah, excuse me, got a little tongue tied there. And AJ McLean, no matter the distance, I want you to know that deep down inside of me. And then Howie DeRoe, you are my fire, the one desire you are. Don't want to hear you say nothing but a heartache. I'm not singing it. I'm just going with the words. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But that key, that range from the beginning of the song to the middle to the bridge to the end, you're hooked for the 3 minutes and 33 seconds that the song is. But everybody, like, this was also the Millennium album here, folks. This was I Want It That Way. Larger Than Life, which was originally supposed to be the first single, but they went with this more, different style, very more easy listening, very, like tempoed, not very like upbeat, that brown out. Like I love Larger Than Life, but this was a nice little ballad, a nice little smooth take to have the first single be from that album. Like Millennium still goes down as one of the Backstreet Boys' best albums. You had I Want It That Way. You had Larger Than Life. You had Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely. You had The One, I'll Be the One. A lot of great songs off that album, which really surmised and summarized the summer of 1999, which LFO, God rest the souls of Devin, Rich, and now Riz. God dang, man, Brad is the only one left, which also came out with Summer Girls and Girl on TV and I Don't Want to Kiss You Goodnight. So you had the prime boy band mixed with like the 15 Minutes of Fame boy bands. Like I Love Together, which is a great mock boy band. You give me, geez, what else came around that time? No Authority. You had B44. You had Soul Decision, who everybody loves Fade and knew it's kind of crazy, but they had more hits in Canada than they did here. But when you look at that video, the Backstreet Boys, going back to the Backstreet Boys here, which is the, really the basis and general consensus of today's episode, it was a feel good song. Everybody loved it. People still talk about it today, 24 years later. Have you tried the rinse and refresh? Like the commercial for that, what I'm saying? Downy rinse and refresh commercial with the Backstreet Boys. It's used in so much pop culture, different movies, different soundtracks. Weird Al, for God's sake, I want on eBay. Like he parodied that song. Like there's songs like this that you don't really see nowadays that are really much timeless. Now everything nowadays is mostly okay. Here's a song this week, and here is another song the next week. Like there's nothing that stands the test of time anymore. And it's really unfortunate because again, everything's so disposable. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can really take it in. It's like, okay, on to the next. Well, with the Backstreet Boys were on to the next, you had again the songs off that album. I Want It That Way. It's Gotta Be You, which to tie in professional wrestling here was the theme song for Brian Myers and Brett Matthews, who would later go on to be Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder in the WWE, aka Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. Like a lot of the songs off that album, like Don't Want You Back was originally going to be like the final single off that album. And I know AJ McLean wanted it to be that, but the fans voted the one to be. And Don't Want You Back is a great song. I Need You Tonight, which is Nick Carter's solo song on that track, is good. Don't Want to Lose You Now is good. No One Else Comes Close, which is a cover of the Joe Thomas song, is very, very good, which kind of equates to the first album because it had Set Adrift on Memory Bliss, the cover by PM Dawn that the Backstreet Boys did. And of course, I would be amiss if I didn't I would be remiss if I didn't mention amiss. I would be remiss if I didn't mention The Perfect Fan. Mom, You Always Were the Perfect Fan, the iconic Disney in concert performance that they did back in '99 with the choir. Uh, man, bring those back, Disney in concerts. But everything served its purpose, and that is still goes down as one of their best albums, right before Black and Blue came out. But yeah, that was the time period, man. TRL lasted, Grammy Awards. I still remember like just being nominated for the Grammy Award shows, the performances, and just everything that really was accustomed to what we saw with that time period in 1999. But what really stuck out to me was, and I'm gonna show my age here, just my mom, who was my hero, and I love her to death. Man, she would go out of her way for me, being the pop culture music fan that I was and the professional wrestling fan that I am. Um, when I was a kid, like I remember watching the 1999 VMAs with her on MTV, which one of my favorite VMA awards. My mom, because I had to get up for school. I was in second grade at the time, just started second grade because this was in September of 09, not September of 09, September 1999. Blank tapes, folks. For those that remember, if you had to tape something, stick the blank tape in and then boom. So my mom knew I wanted to see the whole entire show, and she knew I wanted to see Backstreet, and she knew I wanted to see that infamous NSYNC and Britney Spears performance of Tearing Up My Heart and Baby One More Time. She taped the whole thing for me, but I do remember seeing it was a nice little combo for those who've never seen the performance. It was the Backstreet Boys doing an a cappella version of I Want It That Way, and then it transitioned to Larger Than Life. And it was a great performance, one of my favorite performances of theirs. And yeah, that also brings back those memories of seeing that. And yeah, that was really also showcased how 1999 was such a great year. Like you had Will Smith with Big Willie Style, you had the Latin pop movement of Enrique Iglesias with Bailamos and Rhythm Divine and Be With You, and you had Ricky Martin with Livin' La Vida Loca, She's All I Ever Had, Shake Your Bon Bon, The Cup of Life. And like the other one, I mean, Mark Anthony, Tell Me Baby Girl, Because I Need to Know You sang to me. Like the Latin pop movement was great, the Euro pop movement. We could talk about Bewitched. We could talk about Eiffel 65 on Blue Abadi Abadai. We could talk about so much from that time period. S Club 7, rest in peace to Paul. Like there was a lot that came out of 1999 that was absolutely awesome from the year of pop culture, which that's another episode in itself that'll I'll dive into probably in the future. But yeah, I Want It That Way. One of my favorite videos of just fandom and showing that crazy passionate fans of the Backstreet Boys at the airport, the BSB getting on the plane and waving goodbye to the fans, the crying. It showcased the boy band movement, and it just showcased a song that is now 24 years old that still stands the test of time. People remember the video, people remember the song. It's in popular culture, it's embedded in our brains, it's embedded in our hearts and our minds. It's not going to go anywhere. And it's still a great song to this day, 24 years later. And the reason I want to do this show too as well is because people that know me again know that I am a Backstreet Boys fan and the pop genre of that time period and pop in general, and just a music lover of all different facets of life. Because again, you may not like the boy band movement and the pop movement and stuff that I'm talking about, but it's a genre. It's a work of art like anything. And again, everybody's entitled to their opinion. So, but I look at it from a stance too as well. If you enjoyed this, you know you did. It's a great time period to look back on. It's a great music video. It's a great album. And it was the prime of the Backstreet Boys, like them, the height of their career. And they still tour to this day. They did the New Kids on the Block tour, the NKTOB BSB. Like they're still killing it in Vegas. They're still killing all over. And they're all older now. You know what I'm saying? More like the 30s and the 40s. Like look at 98 Degrees. They're all of them are pretty much almost 50 and they're still killing it. Like all we need is NSYNC. All we need is the tour. All we need is the BSB NSYNC tour and we're set. But you know. And it's amazing to think because I think nowadays with like the kids that grew up with the Backstreet Boys, like a lot of kids were like born in 99 And they grew up with like, I think probably they remember like the Inconsolables, the Incompletes by the Backstreet Boys. I just want you to know that I've been fighting to let you go. Like I grew up through the first album, the Millennium, to Black and Blue, to the Hits Chapter 1, which featured Drowning on it. Um, and just onward and, through the band only being four of them. And then Kevin came back. So we got to see the evolution of the Backstreet Boys. And this is prime 90s right here. This is prime TRL, going to the window, saying hello to the fans. And just, I mean, probably one of the saddest moments ever in TRL history. And you see it on the girls' faces and the people's faces when they announced AJ was going into rehab. So Backstreet Boys created a lot of memories in TRL. They created a lot of memories in pop culture and music. And here's to celebrating 24 years of I Want It That Way. Good times, great memories, and moments created and moments yet to be created. So I hope you guys enjoyed this edition of the Pop Culture History Podcast. Sorry if I ramble a little bit, man. I get giddy talking about the 90s and my childhood. And really, as we get to adulthood, just appreciate what we had and just really continuing to adapt and grow as people and just really reminisce. So I hope you enjoyed today's forum. I really do enjoy doing these, and I hope to do more of these going forward. I mean, for those that know, I've had a lot going on in my personal life, and I had a lot going on. Life in general, as we all know, life gets in the way, and also life takes its toll. But through whatever life hands at us and throws at us, we make it through, and we make the best of it. So I just wanted to say, for those who are going through a tough time right now, just chin up, keep your head up, and always stay positive, and just that this too shall pass, and that you're not alone, because we all deal with it, and we all grow, and we adapt, and we all get through, and you will. Whatever you're going through, whatever you are dealing with, trust me, you're going to be okay. Things will unfold as they should. I will leave it at that. So thank you guys for listening to another edition of the Pop Culture History Podcast. It has been a while, and I hope to do more of these. Check out my past shows with Brittany Savage, former professional wrestler, an amazing human being. Check out my shows with a lot of wrestlers that I've had on, like Congo Kong, and from who used to be in Impact Wrestling, a lot of great talents, and Christy Knowings from All That. Noah Bastion and Alex Solowitz, who were Mickey Park and Chad Linus from Together, which my shows with Britt from that as well. Just check out the Pop Culture History Podcast, man. I've had a lot of great people on the show. I've had a lot of great topics on the show, and I'm really blessed to work with amazing people that I got to work with and still, keep in touch with from now and then, as we all do. We progress and we grow. And besides that, we keep continuing on, evolving as people. And it's a great time. You know what I'm saying? It's always a great time to do these shows and have guests on and just do what I do. I can't say how much I love to do what I do. And I hope you all are entertained by this and my ramblings and just my overall respect for the craft, if you will. So if you've never, and for those who've never seen Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way, to you youngins out there, watch the video. You know what I'm saying? Because it's you may think it's cheesy, but it's a great video. And it really sums up that time period of 1999. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to say on that front. And if you want to follow this show, pop_culture_pod on Twitter. You can follow me at SM_Show1 or MCL92 on the Twitter machine. You can check me out at Larkin_92 or MLarkinMB on Instagram. You can check out SteveandMikeShow.com for all the Steve and Mike shows. And you can check us out on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your audio podcasting platform needs. Subscribe to this channel, Mike Larkin 92, and all the links from LFC, the work I do with Lingerie Fighting Championships, with beauty, strength, and dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. And you can check us out, LFC Network on Roku, where that podcast is, as well, besides LFCfights.com. You can check out my work with Capital Championship Wrestling, one of the hottest women's promotions out there right now, with my shows Progression and Succession, where I look at the progression of women and their succession along the way, and the recap shows for the Capital Championship Wrestling events. I have another recap show coming very soon for Capital Championship Wrestling. Check out their YouTube, Capital Championship Wrestling, and CCW Action on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Links will be in the description below here. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and just enjoy the past and present interviews, the past and present content, and just a lot of great work from myself and Steve, and a lot of great people on there. I put my boy Tommy Bell's Sketchy and Funny show on there, where he shows his drawings of many amazing women and many amazing talents. The dude is a whiz when it comes to drawing. And check out my great logos done by Dazzy Lee in the UK, my boy from the Max Wrestling Podcast. Check out Max Wrestling UK on Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to Max Wrestling YouTube. Links will be in their description there too as well. So thank you guys for listening. I will touch base with you hopefully again soon. Like I said, scheduling and life gets in the way, but I hope you enjoyed a little taste of this. And Backstreet's back. All right. I want it that way. Tell me why. You are my fire, the one desire you are. And you all are amazing. I love you. I appreciate you. I respect you. And God bless, my friends. I'll talk to you soon.